Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Talking Real Estate at Champions Real Estate Team here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Company. My name is Mark Wehner, the second team leader, Champions Real Estate Team. Joining me today is Russ Williams with Williams Mortgage. We like to jump on here every Wednesday around the lunch hour if we can, or periodically times throughout the day, depending on how busy either of us get. But and kind of give you a rundown what's going on in the real estate market over the last week. Seeing a little bit of volatility in the rates, obviously, with everyone probably heard on the news and stuff. The Fed's meeting yesterday, today. The press conference is coming out this afternoon, so we'll probably see some volatility. But let's take a look at what's going on in the housing side of it here in the Omaha metro area. So as we take a look here, we had 683 new listings go live last week. So when I look back at the numbers over the last year and a half, I don't think we've had almost 700 homes go live in 1 week in about that amount of time. So we've had a lot of new inventory coming on. And then we had 343 new contracts, which has been about the number we've seen. So we haven't seen as much. The buyer activity has been staying pretty stable with regards to that. And then sold homes. So we got about 500 new homeowners out there. So congratulations to them. So as we're taking a look at that new listings, we had the most listings go active, since a long time, which is typical for this time of year historically. All of a sudden it's that panic, like, oh gosh, we better get it on before school starts, and get, because right now, if you essentially, if you wrote a contract, I think what Millard starts August 10th, I think. So you'd probably be getting into your house probably just a little after school starts. But so I mean, that's kind of where I think that aspect is. And I think some sellers that have kind of been waiting, to like, oh, we're going to get our house on the market this year. Oh gosh, we got to get our house on the market before, school starts and before, fall hits. I think that's what we're kind of seeing here is that big push to get on the market in just the kind of historical time frame. So I think it's a very good, still a great market out there for buyers. As you can see, there's more houses to choose from. I'm seeing more home inspections, in contracts I'm writing and even contractors on our listing, seeing home inspections out there, and the buyer and the sellers are willing to work with each other on that, which is nice to see. So we're kind of getting back, I think, to more of a normal market through that prospect of it. So I'll give you the 30,000 foot view. So this is basically this entire Omaha Lincoln MLS. We had about just over 2,300 homes in Douglas, Sarpy County, so the Omaha metro area, 1,300. So we're up there a little bit, and we got 1,615 existing listings in the Douglas and Sarpy County area. So I remember Russ and I doing this at the beginning of the year. We were happy just to get over 300. So, we almost have triple the amount of listings that we had at the beginning of the year. So as you can kind of see, that's, going to play out. And new construction, we had a kind of a big jump here with 713 new homes on the new construction side of it. Months of inventory, obviously, if these numbers are going up, our months of inventory is going to go up a little bit. Went up a tenth, so went up from 1.3 to 1.4. Our average sale price kind of been hovering around that 316 mark for the last couple of weeks. So I think the market's kind of stabilizing a little bit. I don't necessarily say we're going to see a huge dip, but I don't think maybe we're not going to see those 15% increases year over year. We might get back down to where we're on the average of, that 3 to 4%, which is still a good long-term investment, building that equity into your house and things of that sort. So, but yeah, so as I said earlier, it's still a great time to jump into the market. As we've said many times, and Russ has said it before, marry the house and date the rate. As rates have come down over the last couple of weeks, I think it's right around just above 5 where we were at 6. So it's come down a little bit. So it's still advantageous, and we'll still see what the volatility does with us. But we'll touch in with the expert here with Russ and see how things are going on his side, if there's anything he's got for us. So how's it going, Russ?
Doing great. Just as you mentioned, Mark, the Fed is meeting. Well, they've been meeting the last 2 days at 1 o'clock Central Time. They'll be releasing their policy decision, which is basically a foregone conclusion that short-term rates, credit cards, student loans, auto loans will be affected to the tune of 0.75% upwards today in an effort to combat inflation. As we've talked about previously, typically that has the impact of bringing mortgage rates down. And we've actually seen that. The highest rates we've seen, Mark, this year were in June. And a lot of the news reports you're seeing coming out right now that are fairly negative on housing as far as softening are June numbers, May and June numbers. So as we see the Fed raising rates today, we're expecting some volatility that usually comes out of the press conference as the market digests what the Federal Reserve Chairman says. So we expect some volatility probably through the remainder of the week, but we probably anticipate that interest rates apart from some surprise, are going to be pretty strong here and improving as we move into the latter part of this week and into next week. And Mark, we should be able to, on 30-year fixed rate money for conventional loans with good credit, be under the 5.5% mark, which is a nice improvement from where we were 30 days ago when interest rates were tickling the 6% mark. So having said all that, this is a great time to get out there and buy a house, as Mark mentioned, marry the house and date the rate. We still anticipate, based upon what we're seeing, that if we see employment numbers soften, which could happen as we hit the next couple of weeks, we could start to see employment numbers soften a little bit, and that'll be the last shoe to fall before we have a recession. Now, as you know, this is an election year, and this can be a sensitive topic, but jobs are the last thing that we're waiting to see soften before a recession is declared. And if it is declared, it probably would be declared no sooner than the first week or so of September. So this is still a great time to buy a house. Interest rates are a little below where they have been for the high in the year, and they're expected maybe to soften a little bit more if the Fed's efforts to stop inflation are effective, and we think that they probably will be.
Yep, and like you said, going along with the rate, and then obviously the price. So if you're looking at prices, I still think there's a very strong demand. We still don't have the number of houses for the demand that we need for the housing here in the kind of the Omaha metro area. So it's one of those things that, I think that those prices are going to go up. I don't think they're going to get as crazy as what they have been the last couple of years, but a lot of those prices have built in. So I mean, even if you're selling a house, people may think, well, I thought we should list a little bit higher than what typically on an agent says. I deal with that a lot where, well, I think your house, based on the market should be here. But we got to take into account that those prices that we're looking at for our market analysis were houses that were closed in the last, 2 months. Well, those contracts were written, at the beginning of the year when we only had 200 houses in the Douglas-Sarpy County area on the market in all price points. So that was, those prices are reflecting those. So we have to kind of bring it back down to realization where they're not getting as crazy, and so that we have to basically look to be realistic on our pricing. And you are seeing, the price reductions and things of that sort, because that's, maybe we have tried it. Well, let's try it up here. Okay, the market's softened a little bit, if you want to use that terminology. So let's bring it down. There's people that have, selling a house or, bought a house 5 years ago, turn around selling it. They're still making a good chunk of change. So whether you price it at 350 or 375, you're still making a pretty darn good, good chunk of change if you bought that thing for 250, just for random examples. I mean, you're still kind of, don't be greedy in that regards. And it's just, if you're moving, as you move up or move down, depending on what your situation is, kind of seeing where you want to be. But it's kind of having that knowledge and working with a team like Champions Real Estate Team, myself, that are doing this day in and day out, and kind of see the writing on the wall of what's going on and try to position you ahead of that, so that you're going to, find a house, buy a house that's, a great price, a fair price, and ultimately on the same side for the seller side. Hey, let's get a fair price for it. The day of maybe getting 10 offers on your house, not so much right now at this time. I'm not saying it can't be if rates go back down again and, you get more buyers in the pool, but ultimately get that house now before, if that does happen and you get more buyers in the pool, drives that price up. You can lock that price now and then change your rate later if you see fit that makes sense for you. So it also depends on how long you're going to be in the house and all that too. So anyways, that's kind of all I had today. Russ, you're still on mute, but I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add or touch on.
Nope. I think this is good, and get out there and buy and sell. It's still a great real estate market.
Yep. Awesome. Well, appreciate everybody. Have a great rest of the week.